What's going on, everyone? My name is Nicholas Merton here at DataDash, and today is October 11th of 2019. Well, folks, I hope you are having a fantastic day wherever you are, and in today's update, we've got a few key things to focus in on. We're not only going to take a look at the recent shakeup in Bitcoin's price over the last 24 hours, but also focus in on Bitcoin dominance, as well as spending some time to talk about a recent event in Iran where an Iranian oil tanker was attacked, this being really one of the second most relevant events in crude oil markets. Interestingly enough, though, it hasn't left much of an impact on price. And I want to spend some time to talk about why it's not going to impact price. Anyways, we've got a lot of things to discuss. We'll go ahead and dive right into it right after our quick sponsor. Our sponsor for this episode is CoinDeal. CoinDeal is a leading cryptocurrency platform that allows you to trade a variety of cryptocurrencies as well as deposit major fiat currencies such as dollars and euros. The team has decided to give away over 90% of their token supply to early registers. So if you register an account before November 12th, you'll be able to claim up to 100 free CDL tokens to do a variety of things such as paying down fees on the exchange. Outside of that as well, it's important to note that CoinDeal has opened up to the United States, allowing users from major states such as Virginia and Texas to register accounts. So check out the link down below in the description if you'd like to learn more and claim your free 100 CDL tokens when you register your account. Alrighty, everyone, so let's go ahead and start off by taking a look over cryptocurrency markets. Over the last 24 hours, most cryptocurrencies are in a no-trend scenario, slightly pushing to the downside, about 1% in overall market valuation. As we can see here on the global market cap chart here, down about $3 billion or a percentage point. Outside of that as well, altcoins playing a little bit of a role in that, but again, most of it coming through Bitcoin here after having recent gains in the market yesterday. And I really want to spend some time to focus in on dominance first, and then we'll go into the picture of talking about Bitcoin. You know, there's really a few things that I look for when it comes to these kind of overall longer term swings. And you guys know I usually don't like to look at the shorter term time frames, but I do want to take a look at the 4 hour here, right? You know, when we're trying to gauge this kind of big bolster and dominance that Bitcoin got, I got a percentage point yesterday. And that was a pretty decent leap here. I got to give credit to it, as much as I'm pretty confident that we're still on the downtrend. And I'll explain why. I got to say it was definitely a good jump up for Bitcoin. You know, Bitcoin, I think, moved up from a total of, it was around like 8,200 to 86, 8,700. And then we started to see a reduction over the last few hours. And we'll take a look at it in just a moment. Now, the thing that I'm seeing here in the sense of the short term is that we're hitting resistance at previous support, right? This was a very significant level here, right, for Bitcoin. In the sense of its market dominance, and we had decided the market basically had broken through. We closed down below it, and that was kind of the signifying point of what I deemed as the altcoin cycle in this case. Now, again, other people have different perspectives. They have different catalysts and measurements, and some people are going to wait much longer to call that change and that shift in trend, right? The thing that's significant to me is that we are now treating that as resistance here, what used to be support, right? We're now starting to get weighed down. And if you take a look here on the 4 hour, and you can even get more detail if you want to take a look at the hourly, for example, you can see that there's been 2 attempts here to really kind of test this range at 69.40. And every time we're getting shot down at it. So again, what was previously support now is turning resistance. Simple explanation there. But again, the reason why I'm taking the time to look at that shorter term time frame is to cover my analysis for those of you who do like to look at the shorter term time frames and try to gain hints in price. And the weekly, we're still on the trend here, guys. All 3 of our indicators are still pointing bearish on Bitcoin dominance, which means altcoins are bullish in this case, or at least are going to gain a share of the market. Whether that means the market's going up overall or down, it means altcoins are the hedging play at the moment, right? So again, that's just my opinion. You've got to determine it for yourself, but I wanted to kind of update you guys on that. I know I've had some people asking me about it. Outside of that as well, you know, we'll take a look here at a few other cryptos, and we're going to dive into some of the other material here. ETH BTC, let's go ahead and see what's been happening here. Take a look at Binance. Again, got a big bump up the other day, right? But we faded most of our gains. What I do like to see is that we've done what it probably needs to do, and that's retrace right here on top of what was resistance for a long time. If it holds up here, the momentum starts building in, we get back up to where we were the other day, around 2,300,000 Satoshis, then in that case, I'll be really excited about ETH picking up, XRP following suit as well, and then also some of our altcoin plays. Speaking of which, I want to take some time to take a look at some of this plays, because they did make one trade, and I'm sorry guys, I actually forgot to mention it the other day, because yesterday we really wanted to focus in on the Fed talk, and we talked a lot about altcoins in general, but I'll go ahead and talk about a trade that I recently did yesterday, a re-entry, and then also one of the other cryptos that I'm watching, one of our top 3 plays for the year, but I have not made a position on just yet. So the first one here is Chainlink, obviously. Actually, I'm going to take a look at the USD chart here because Coinbase is what we've been watching. We are definitely watching this in dollar terms. But the thing here that I want to focus in on is that I did average back in at 258 yesterday. So I didn't call the absolute bottom. Well, it's kind of funny. I have a story to tell you guys. I'd set a limit order before I went to bed at night, basically saying, I'll buy in at 251. And this is an important lesson to play. It even kind of showed me that I should be a little less greedy, because the whole strategy I've talked about on the channel, and you guys might know about this, is that if I expect buyers to come in at a big even level like 250, right? And I've told you guys this is how a smart trader trades. You usually want to set your orders a little bit higher in this case. Set your limit order a few pennies higher. And the reason for that is that if you do believe buyers are going to come in at that level, what's to keep other people from front running you in this case, right? People are going to guarantee, they want to make sure they get in at that low price. And you have to basically be what I define as a little less greedy than the other traders, because a lot of people are having their buy orders at 250 level. And what's going to happen in the order book is that if there's enough people, you're going to be stacked in a queue behind others who have placed their limit orders first. And if there's not enough sellers selling into those limit orders, you might not get your order filled. And that's exactly what happened to me. I got a partial amount of my order filled, but it wasn't around that range for a very long time. So I had to average in. I woke up that morning and I averaged the rest in around I saw 256 and I was like, oh crap. So I averaged in, and my average is around 258. Up about 10 cents since I bought in, which is good. I was able to buy some more Link from my original position because I bought it at dip. And again, I don't plan to swing this too much, but I do believe this is going to continue to possibly move higher. I love the fact that this has been holding higher lows still every single time so far. So really kind of defying the odds here. Definitely against what I thought was capable, what it was capable of. But daily momentum looks good. The weekly, we don't have enough price data here in the sense of the USD chart. But again, just letting you all know, I'm back in my original position for where I was on Link. So I did a nice little swing on that. But I want to talk about Raven. We're going to take a look at it in the Bitcoin chart here on Binance. So Raven was one of the best performers yesterday against Bitcoin. Moved up about 13.5%. Really nice swing up there in just a matter of 24 hours. So I want to talk again about watching a variety of these plays, guys. I understand maybe you don't like Chainlink, maybe you don't like Basic Attention Token, maybe you don't like ETH or XRP, whatever it is. We're seeing, if you're playing on the smart plays here, if you're watching where the winners are gaining and you're positioned in those winners, you are materializing higher returns against Bitcoin, right? Now, this isn't the broader altcoin market. Again, I'm not going to beat a dead horse, but I've said it before, and I know many of you have said it yourselves. We're not going to have the altcoin cycle we had before. It's not going to be the entire market like it was last time. At least it's not likely to, from what I can see, and what how the environment has kind of matured. Not anything just goes anymore. So I think in this case, we have to look for those kind of winners, right? And I think that Raven is one of those. And we've seen in the past it has very parabolic moves, right? I think a lot of people are obviously in crypto markets, there's very big speculative ways, but I think there's a lot of exciting things fundamentally coming for the projects that I'm excited about in the altcoin space. Chainlink fixing the Oracle solution, Basic Attention Token actually rewarding people for their, for their attention. The attention economy is huge. It's the advertising and marketing industry, right? It's a multi-$100 billion sector for the web. Again, I think there's so much going on, especially with Ravencoin as well, and the sense of being able to build a platform for digital, not just digital assets, but representation of assets. Now, in the sense of Bitcoin here, I wanted to take actually a look at the rainbow chart today. And the reason for that is to see that we're actually really pushing down towards the lower range of the third rainbow line here, right? We can see the different kind of little, I really don't know what you kind of call these, but these little segments of the rainbow in this case, very similar to a logarithmic, not a logarithmic chart. I'm blanking right now. I'm meant to say in this case a Fibonacci chart, right? You have the different segments and levels. So here, what I'm really interested in is that we're on the lower blue bands here on the rainbow. We're down towards the lower range. We're down at a 45%. Well, I guess not so much anymore, about a 42 to 40% discount. I'm not saying that yesterday was, when we got the leap up in markets, that this was a sign that we've set the bottom in yet, guys. But this is the range where I add personally. And if we take a look at the kind of shakiness and price action, right? I think right now we aren't going to make any steady moves just yet. As you can see here, this is mostly just kind of you can see that the buy volume is very similar to the sell side volume. It's people margin trading, whales trying to screw one another over, in this case, making a quick buck off one another. That's what it is. We really should have held on this support range, what was previous resistance. So I think that we're going to probably set a higher low, but I would look for it to come down towards around like 81, 8200 in this case. Either way, again, I'm not trying to fret over the smaller price ranges. I would average into this price personally if I had extra cash, but I don't have any at the moment. At least not to add to crypto at the moment. I'm pretty well positioned in crypto. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about what's going on in oil markets. So in Iran, there's been another event that's been going on. You know, we had the recent attack in Saudi Arabia not too long ago, and we now have an attack on an Iranian oil tanker. This is happening in the Red Sea, and for those of you who don't know, this is a very key location in between a lot of the major players in, you know, the Middle East. For example, we have Saudi Arabia, we have Oman, Yemen, a lot of the major oil producers here, alongside Egypt on the northeastern tip of Africa in this case. So there was basically an attack on an oil tanker here. And I mean, honestly, like, you know, this doesn't come as a shock, at least in the sense of what they claimed. And that is that they supposedly were attacked by Saudi Arabia. The company that was piloting this was the Islamic Republic's tanker company. And they later pulled that comment that Saudi Arabia had done this attack. Now, guys, I don't really want to dive into the politics of it because, quite frankly, I've done some research on it. But no one knows, like, reading an article here, what's really happened, if it was Saudi Arabia getting back and getting vengeance, or if it was some form of terrorist attack, or what, or who knows what it could be. Honestly, I don't want to sit here and try to claim that I know what happened here, right? That all being realized, the thing that I notice in this case is its effect on markets, and markets in many ways really can't lie, right? I mean, sure, they can be speculative, they can, overreact, but we really only had about a 1.5% bump up in light crude oil futures. And it was really sad. The media, even Bloomberg, who I have to say is more respectable against most major media publications, even was really pushing hit $60. Even here on investing.com, they were talking about how it hit $60. And they're using the Brent crude oil price, which is obviously trading at a premium, as it always does usually. So the thing that I want to drill here is that this has had little to no effect on markets. The attack on Saudi Arabia's oil refinery had little to no effect. It was short-lived, it faded off very quickly, and we're down below even the open of that day, right? We're still trading below before the news actually came out on Saudi Arabia. So what does this tell us about oil markets? Well, we've talked about it, I think from time to time here on the channel. We don't discuss it much, but I think every few months I kind of bring it up. And that is that, even though we've been pushing sideways throughout 2019 here, the fact of the matter is that we can see in the longer term trend that we're setting significant higher lows every single time we get a rally in these markets. We have not had a real recovery in crude markets. The only reason there has been the bolster of production that we've had across the world is that people are finding cheaper ways to basically to drill, refine, and produce oil in this case, and produce gasoline and all the byproducts, right? So the thing about it that I want to drill is that with that, again, growth of supply, a slowing economy, and then also, I think another macro factor to keep in mind, and this is whether or not you like it or not, it's consumers who want it, the growth of electric vehicles and using alternative power sources. This is going to drive crude oil prices down into a channel we haven't seen since back here in the early 2000s. And what was really where crude was at for a multitude of decades. And there's a few significant things to take away from this. The first thing is that this is going to be the cheapest time, I think, in history, the cheapest we've ever seen crude oil, which will be pretty cool. I think that's a cool thing, honestly, that energy is so abundant. It shows how free markets can really lead to an abundance of wealth creation in this case. And I think that's really cool. At the same time, I think it's going to eventually, over these next few months, it's going to knock us back into the range of $20 to $30, where a lot of producers cannot manufacture crude in the short term, right? So I'm not the only one who's saying this. On the Daily Shop Brief, very fortunately, they put out a post yesterday, as they do with all these really interesting charts. We see that U.S. corporate defaults over the last 3 quarters have outpaced the same 3 quarters back in 2018. We have a new high here of 13 different defaults in the oil and gas sector. And it's not the only industry. There's a variety of different sectors across the board that are feeling the pain. But this is where we're going to see a lot of devastation, I think, over the next few months to really the next few years into later 2020, 2021, right? We're thinking ahead here. It's definitely a further away than I think many would expect me to list out as I'm talking about this being a really big downturn. Things take time, but at the same time, you know, we really have a lot of factors here coming to play for the crude sector that I don't see being beneficial in the long term. Anyways, I'd like to get you guys' take on it. Another interesting chart here showing the decline of corporate profit margins leading into recessions. Take a look at these historical ones. The post-1949 average, post-1975 average, post-1954 average, and the current cycle. I think we're getting pretty close. I think all those gold and silver bugs might finally be onto something. Like the cycle might be finally twisting, right? I don't know. One thing I just wanted to share as well, guys, it's not a sponsor. I just want to let you all know Somnium Space, who we did have on the channel a while back as a sponsor, is still doing their land parcel, where you basically can buy land in their virtual reality game. Big fan of VR as a technology, and I'm interested to see this kind of conjunction of blockchain and VR. I think the land parcels are generally going for 0.3 wrapped ether, so pretty much a third of an ether to buy a land parcel. And the SDK, the game itself, a lot of the tools out there are already launched, so you can actually explore the world. But I just wanted to share it with you guys. I thought it was interesting. That all being realized, I hope you all are having a great day wherever you are. I hope you have a great weekend. Might produce a video or two over the weekend, but I'm definitely going to be doing some stuff this weekend, working on my startup, working on a few other things. Got a lot of exciting things coming down the pipeline, guys. But as always, I just want to express my gratitude. I appreciate you guys sticking around. You guys have been, just great so far over this year and stuff. We've had a lot of interesting things going on in the macro environment. I'm so happy to see as well that you guys have enjoyed me sticking to my guns and focusing on these macro topics and showcasing how crypto, as well as gold and silver and other hedges, play a role in the overall broader economy. I mean, we are really on the forefront of some really cool stuff, and I'm excited to be here with you guys. I'm honored to be here with you guys. So thank you, as always. And if you guys like my content here, drop a like, leave a comment letting me know your thoughts. If it's just a kind remark, or if it's something you want me to cover here on the channel, feel free to let me know. I try to read the comments when I can, and I always appreciate it. All right, well, I hope you guys are having a great day. I've rambled on enough, and I'll see you all in the next video. Stay tuned.